Yeah. Yeah.
I see nothing from this building. In my emails. Good. All right, we'll close meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Susie, can you give me an agenda, please? Yes. Thank you. All right. Can I get a roll call, please?
Village President Hawkins,
Here.
Ms. Bruni, not here. Mr. Dedlock. Here. Mr. Morgan. Present. Mr. Pacino. Present. Ms. Worrell.
Here.
Ms. Weedle.
Present. Do we have a motion to approve village board meeting, village board minutes from 2/18/2025? Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve board minutes from 2/18/2025. Thank you. Any questions or adding?
Second.
Yes, sir. Oh, no, I didn't usually get those questions, so I'm just,
Second.
we don't have a second?
I need a second. I second.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you guys.
Okay, motion to approve previous meeting minutes from, what was that date?
2/18?
18. Motion made by Ms. Worrell,
Yes.
seconded by Mr. Pacini.
Yes.
Mr. Dedlock,
Yes.
Mr. Morgan,
Abstain.
and Ms. Weedle.
Abstain.
3, okay, I got this.
We have no one signed up on the agenda, but I think someone signed up to.
More public comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got more public.
Ms. Valdizen.
Good evening, Laura Eisen, I live on Essex Farm Road. I just have one thing I wanted to bring tonight. That is, if the public could be informed on the painter that was here this week and if he held insurance. Didn't even know.
That was, I have that on my, under me that I was going to ask if he was insured and bonded.
Okay.
So,
Anything else to add to that?
do we, I don't know, do we do a criminal background check during this also for for people that we hire out?
Well, I just got the water heater replaced by the plumbers and we didn't do a criminal background check on
I
that,
was
so I'm
just-
wondering where this was all coming
I
from.
don't think
Don't
so.
know.
I don't think so.
Okay, it was just a question. That's all.
Not for somebody doing that, but.
If I may have my 2 minutes, it comes from, that, what, and if it should be clarified, I just want to make sure what I heard was correct. From what I understand, the village hall was open and, there was a person inside working and it was a painter. But, from looking at the situation, I was just wondering how that happened. And then that's where it led to concern of, I think there was a background check for safety.
May I ask you a question? What do you mean by situation?
As far as, when I remember when I was here at one of the meetings, that there was talk of painting the village hall. But, I was just wondering if this is what came from, because it didn't say the company. So when I heard that there was some concern on the part of the secretary when she came in, I was just, as a public, a civilian, I was just asking if things were done in the correct way, that's all.
So somebody was in, I guess I'm just going to ask you, because I'm not
Right.
understanding. Somebody was in the village hall.
This is hearsay,
Oh.
so if there's clarification, because I don't like taking it, if I wasn't here. But it's to the.
I can't
it's
give
to the
clarification
level.
on hearsay, but if you wanna ask me a direct question, that'd be great, cause then I can just answer it instead
I-
of going around and around. What is the direct question? You wanna know if he was licensed and insured? I do not know off the top of my head, I can ask him. What was the next question? Was he in the building when no one was in here? Yes, he was. He had a key to the building, there were cameras everywhere, and the vault was locked up. What's the next question?
So he had a key to the building.
Mhm.
And how did he get cleared by that? I know we have to be cleared for that.
I gave him my key so he could do work in the building.
That's not the usual practice, is it?
Most of the time, there was an employee here.
Okay, and did that get done this time? That employee was here?
No, I just said he was here after hours. No, it did not get done.
Okay, and about what time was that after hours?
I don't have his schedule. I don't know. I would have to ask him when he was here.
Okay, after hours would be after 4:30 then?
That would be after hours, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Anyone else have any comments or questions about any other things? Do we have a motion to approve bills for payment and payroll?
Yes, I move to approve bills for payment dated February 20th, 2025 from the corporate general fund, $1,000. February 21st, corporate general fund, $1,000. March 3rd, 2025 from the corporate general fund, $16,359.60. Dated also March 3rd from the motor fuel tax, $9,020.61. Also dated March 3rd from the TIF account, $14,917.58. Also moved to approve payroll ending February 16th in the amount of $19,714.34.
Thank you, sir.
So there's two checks for repairs on the building?
Yes,
Oh,
Is the painting all done?
it's done, yes.
it's done.
We did give a payment of $1,000 down upfront for the young man to get materials and whatnot to do the job. And then when the job was completed, the next $1,000 that was approved by the board at the last meeting was paid to the gentleman.
But we purchased the paint, correct?
Yes, sir.
So what did he have to buy?
I didn't ask him, I don't know.
Well, we gave him $1,000. I know we bought scaffolding and we paid for the paint.
Do we have any bills on what he purchased?
We did not request that from him when we approved it, no. We just gave us an invoice for painting, which said clearly on there, the ability to pay for the supplies. We
Oh,
completed the work and we paid the $2,000.
I'm not comfortable approving this without seeing bills, what he purchased.
Anything he purchased with his own money that we paid him is his business, it's not our business.
Maybe.
If we approved to pay him $2,000, who are we to say what he did with the $2,000? It came out of that $2,000 that the board approved to pay him for the job. Why do we have any say on
For
what
the $2,000.
to paint and do everything in here? Yes.
Including or excluding material.
I already answered that question. So we don't have a second on this?
I'll second for bills for payment.
I do not know what you people think I'm trying to do here, but literally got nothing out of it, except the building painted, and it looks amazing.
Is there any other question about the bills or the payroll? The payroll was in two parts and it had to be figured because during Carrie's absence, something happened to the usual printout, but she verified how much this February 16th payroll was. And I think you did get a copy of the one that has the total for the month where she figured what the February 16th part was. Any other question? Okay,
Okay, hearing no questions, motion to approve the bills for payment dated February 20th, from general fund $1,000, February 21st, general fund $1,000, March 3rd, general fund $16,359.60, March 3rd, motor fuel tax $9,320.61, March 3rd, TIF account $14,917.58. Payroll ending February 16th in the amount of $19,714.34. Motion is made by Mr. Mr. Morgan.
Yes,
Seconded by Ms. Worrell.
I'm not the only one.
Mr. Delock,
No, with a comment, I don't have any of this paperwork in my packet. I don't have any of the bills for payment. I don't have anything. So I've been looking at Morgan's.
Oh,
So I cannot agree to pay anything because I don't know what I'm paying.
okay.
Mr. Pacini,
Yes.
and Ms. Wheel.
No,
are we in Robin's number?
Yes.
Oh, does she?
Well, we had three.
No, I know, I just wanna make sure she's okay, she was supposed to be here at 6:30, I wanna make sure
Gotcha.
nothing had happened to the young
Yeah.
lady. Thank you.
Yeah.
Clerk, Department reports, clerk Scott Dillman, I think this is an error that's under you.
Yeah, I don't know who Steve Cherry is.
Okay, that was, Carrie was on vacation and
Okay,
they were filling in the agenda and I think that just kind of
but
got.
anyway, the economic interest part is there just as a reminder for me.
Yes,
Those that filled one out previously should have gotten an email in the last week or so. I talked to a few people that did, including myself,
yeah,
about renewing it.
I did mine.
So,
okay,
So-
it was easy. I just went in and.
yeah, takes about 5 minutes.
No, I know, so
But-
just make sure no one.
So
has any
just
issues.
if you for some reason didn't get it, seek it out through the Kankakee County Clerk's office. And,
And we all have to do it regardless if we're,
if,
just a
it
reminder.
just saves a whole
I know.
lot of problems for
Just
those that
saying.
are not seeking reelection, because it's due by May
Yeah,
15th or something like that, or subject to fines and all that.
yeah, so
Kind of stuff,
Morgan, if you
so.
could still fill it
Yeah.
out, thank you, ma'am.
Went to waste.
Oh, really? Okay. Mhm.
I did see her after school,
Okay,
so best I can tell you.
okay. Interesting. Attorney's report, I have nothing to report from the attorney. I would just like to say that the attorney did get some FOIA requests from from Mrs. Veldhuizen. A couple of them over the past weeks, a FOIA from Laura Veldhuizen for the Village of Grant Park, Illinois, the credit card records, including statements. All with, I don't know what that means, with supporting receipt documentation from the date of January 1st, 2021 through February 14th, 2025, which Ms. Veldhuizen was a trustee for some of that, so it's gonna be kind of silly to look up. The other thing is Village of Grant Park, Illinois cell phone records from January 1st, 2021 through February 14th, 2025, as previously stated. Even while Laura was on the board, we did not have that. And then the next one is all bills for payment, printed out copies from meetings of the village board from dates of January 1st, 2021 through February 18th, 2025, with all supporting documentation, including festival funds and all other noted bills for payment. End of request. So we did have to request an extension on that, obviously. We only have so many days for the FOIA request, but it is going to, there's gonna be a bill from the attorney for it because they have to go through all this documentation and make sure things that public knowledge or public record or whatever need to be redacted. So I just wanted to give the board a heads up on. They think that I'm wasting money. I think this is gonna be even more wasted village resources. It's my opinion. But we'll definitely acknowledge that bill when it comes in so that the public does know how much it did cost the attorneys to do that. Next, Neil Pagash, I have nothing new. Ordinances and insurance committee, Miss Susie Weedle.
No report, just requesting that, all current and future, jobs that we hire out at the village, that we just make sure people are bonded in insurance, and if we could get a copy of that.
We could request it, you can motion for it and vote on it at the next meeting. Next, Streets and Alleys Committee, Mr. Frank Bassini.
There's no report.
Mr. Bassini has no report. I just want to remind people that a lot of our alleys are very muddy in the springtime. Most of our alleys, if not all of them, are not through alleys, which means if you do not live off of that alley, please do not drive down it. It tears up the alleys. There's a lot with the garbage trucks already. It doesn't matter how much gravel we throw onto the muddy alley, it is still gonna be muddy because that's just how it is right now. So if you do not live down that alley, or if you're trying to cut from one school to the other, I know that's very popular. Please do not drive down any alleys. Do you have any more with that, Carl?
We've kind of put a good stop to that. We don't have many violations anymore, but with frost coming out of the ground, they're pretty sticky.
Everything's a little bit muddier. So if you don't live down the alley, please try not to drive down it. Try not to shortcut through them. I know it's easier, but it's just a lot of wear and tear on the alleys, and it's hard enough to maintain them, being all gravel anyways, so. Finance Committee, Mr. Gary Morgan.
Yes, I have a motion to approve the FY 2022 audit prepared by Lauterbach and Harmonist. And if we get a second, and then we can talk about it.
Yes, sir.
I'll second.
Thanks, yeah. Okay, basically, you all should have gotten this a few weeks ago and had a chance to look through it. I just want to call attention to, on page 45, it basically looks at the general fund revenues and expenditures and changes in the fund balance so that you get kind of an overview. And then the next few pages, it breaks down the revenues and the expenditures in the next few so that you can see more detail for each of those. But basically, we had more revenue that year than we had expenditures, so that there was a surplus in the general fund. And basically that continues in most of the other budget fund items too, so that we had a decent year. We did not lose money. We were not even on budget. We were actually had more revenue than we did have expenditures in all of them. Did any of you have any questions about this?
Any trustees or anyone in the audience.
And I
Feel free.
guess the other thing that I just want to draw attention to, one of the things in their cover letter that they suggested we do, well, there are like 5 things. But one of the things that they want us to do is develop a policy that actually spells out what we do with outstanding checks. We had a little bit of a problem that year in that there were a couple of checks that never got cashed. And never got cashed. I mean, 4 years later, and we had to do away with them, so we don't know exactly what happened, but they want us to put a policy in place that actually delineates what you do if you get a check and at the end of the year, if nobody's cashed it, what do we do? That's not in writing right now, so they want us to develop that policy. We'll see if we can do that. One of the other things that they suggest is that we come up with an investment policy. We really have never had an investment policy. We've always felt that the money should just be carried over in the bank, as most of the funds do make some interest in the bank, and really the sewer fund makes a lot of interest, and usually it's up 6 or 7%, so that's really decent. But if they're suggesting we have a policy for investment, and that could be something else that we look to do. Other than that, I think some of the other things, they know that we have difficulty with segregation of duties just because we don't have that many employees. And basically we have one person that receives the invoices and basically submits it into the locus system for printing reports. Now, what I've done since is to actually compare all the invoices with the actual printout so that we do have an invoice, and that's what this pile of stuff is that we bring, so that we can actually look at the actual invoices that we do have, if we needed to at a meeting, and then I sign off that they were correct. They still want to have like a third person that actually does something else along the way. And I don't think we're gonna be doing that. I mean, we can see in the letter kind of what they're suggesting, and really, again, we haven't ever done this kind of thing before. I've only been doing this for the last 5 or 6 years, so I think we're doing more to keep track of invoices than we used to. Still gives opportunity, and again, we still have to have 2 people that don't fill out the checks, don't process the reports, sign the checks. So that's another check and balance.
When do we have to have these policies in place, like as far as outstanding checks and investment
As
policy?
soon as possible, but there's really no due date.
Yeah.
And again, the next year that they're gonna audit, they've already started the next year. And we already don't have the policy in place for that year, so they're gonna come up with that same finding at the end of that audit period.
Right. Well, the next one's 2023, right?
Next one's 2023, and just also to shed some light on that, I was talking to Mindy, our TIP administrator, and she said she's known municipalities who have gone with auditors the first year of the audit's taken 5 years. It's taken us 2 years and 10 months, which is too much, but it's at least getting done before the 5 years. And what the auditors do is they submit the audit, if we approve it tonight, they'll submit it to the controller. They've been looking for the password. Did you guys fix the password?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I got that done, yeah, the week
So-
before she left.
They will actually submit it to the Illinois State Controller. If we had let it go, I think it would have had to have been January 1st, 2026. We'd let it go that long, they would have fined us. They would have had a penalty because they don't want it to go that long. But right now, we have no penalty, even though it's 2 years and 10 months late. Hopefully this next one, because we've gone through everything with them, they finally understand the fund that we have from the sewer plant for the $250,000 that floats. It took Joe and Carrie and I telling them maybe 40 times, oh, it wasn't 40 times, that's an exaggeration.
It was a
But-
lot of
but
times.
6 or 8 times before they actually, okay, we finally understand it. And that's been one of the problems why this audit was so late. So hopefully the 2023, while there will be problems, there always are problems with audits, it shouldn't take another 2 years to get it done. So unless somebody's got another question, we can go ahead and see if we will accept it.
Hearing no questions. Okay, motion to approve fiscal year 2022 audit prepared by Waterbach and Aman LLP. Motion is made by Mr. Morgan,
Yes,
seconded by Mr. Detloff,
Yes.
Mr. Cassini. Yes. Ms. Whirl
Yes.
and Ms. Wheel.
Yes.
that's all I have. Thank you.
sir. Community outreach, Mr. Ben Detloff.
We're gonna have a fest meeting March 10th, 6 PM, Community Park Building. At that time, we will be talking about the fest finances and planning future events. So that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Buildings and grounds, Ms. Robin Brody's not here. There was a motion to approve a flooring estimate for the village hall. I'm not even gonna bother. You guys can figure that out on your own. And then someone had brought up, I don't remember, what year, was it 2 years ago? We had discussed purchasing the Gilliam building. Someone had
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, someone had come to me, I think last week or the week before and had asked, hey, whatever happened with that? Would you guys be interested in buying that building again? So it's up for discussion. It's on here. I do believe the building is still up for sale and is still at the price it was then. So if we don't want to discuss it, yes, sir, I'm sorry.
May I make?
Yes, Beljean, I apologize.
That's okay. I am for purchasing the Gillian building, okay?
Mhm.
Like you said, it came up several times or a time before when I was on the board. But if my memory is correct, and I can't find it in the minutes, I've looked through the minutes.
Yeah.
There was, it wasn't an ordinance, but there was a vote on not proceeding with the Gilliam building for a certain period of time, and I can't remember what that was. If
Okay.
it was 2 years, 4 years, or 5 years, or something like that.
Mhm.
So that really needs to be checked into a little bit farther in depth. But I am for it, and I'm just making this comment
Right.
because there's
Yep.
something in the back of my head that there was a restriction put on that
Okay.
at that time.
I do know, I remember we didn't purchase it because, our realtor that we were using had looked at it and there was just a couple too many things wrong with it that we weren't really ready to fix at that time.
We had a building inspection and there were 2 furnaces and some problems with the
Right.
roof and a couple other places that we were just concerned about. And, there was enough on the board consideration that they voted it down.
Correct.
Because the concern was.
Furnaces, I think, was another
one of the
problem
main
that
thing,
they
yeah.
had.
And then
They
that
have not
wall
been
on
changed.
the
I mean, they're still there
north
and
side,
they still
right?
have to be replaced.
Right.
Furnaces, air conditioning, that whole thing. And again, there was some problem on the roof and some molding. You were gonna.
Right, but then I believe they did some roof work after that, because then we see them up there, but go ahead.
I don't know what the Gillian building is.
Oh, it's right across the street, the blue building right here with the.
Oh, on the corner, okay.
Yes,
All
right on the
thank you.
corner.
Okay,
What
I
year
know.
was that we,
I thought it
This has
was
been
2
the
years
longest
ago,
4
but
years
it
of my
might
life,
have
so I
been
couldn't
3.
tell
Under
you.
you?
It was under me, yeah.
You not
Belgian was on the board,
Yes.
so
It was weird.
would say 2 years ago,
3 years ago
2022?
then?
Is it just vacant now?
Yeah, before the election, because he was still on the board, so it
Right.
had
Yeah.
been at least 3.
Yeah,
So one time wasn't the village hall gonna move there or something, or was
that was
a
the thing,
rumor?
to
That was
buy
the
it,
thing.
and then, yeah, turn that into the village hall, and then we had discussed donating, well, not donating, but letting, the historical society move into this
Okay.
building, so they wouldn't have to pay rent, and, not that they pay rent, but
Right,
so that they could use a building they could stay in and not have to keep moving
feel like
from
I
building
remember
to building.
yeah, I think it was like right before, cause probably suggested before I was on the board, I started coming to meetings,
Yeah,
obviously, kind of
okay.
figured out, and I remember you guys talking
So it was
about
at
that.
least 2 years ago.
At least, yeah,
So
a
before,
little more,
okay.
yeah.
Mhm. I mean, it is, I still think it's a great idea, but obviously I'm on the way out, so it doesn't really matter what I think. But it is something to look into, like Beljean said, to make sure that we didn't put anything on there saying we can't discuss it again for a certain amount of years. But, several people have asked why we haven't looked back into purchasing that building, so.
I don't remember that restriction.
I'm not, well, Beljean has a pretty good memory. I'm just
Well, I'm
saying-
not disputing that, but
I remember going over and looking
Yes.
at it.
Okay,
Yeah, we went through it, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I mean, we might have said something, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll revisit it again, in
But-
2 years or whatnot, but,
There was something.
It's worth looking at
I
what the
think you are
actual
correct.
motion was.
right.
Yeah, I think we need to do that
Think we
before
need
we
to-
talk about it anymore.
Oh, yeah, no. It was just brought up, and anytime a citizen brings something up to me, I bring it to you guys, because it's not,
Well, one of the advantages that we have is we now have some other property that we acquired relatively cheaply.
Mhm,
And we are the title owners of the one in the back,
the Pepin property.
the middle one. The one in front that we also put some money down, still owned by the Kankakee County Recorder or something, whose address is in Edwardsville, which is goofy, but, we
deed,
are
yeah.
the.
That deed is in the mail supposedly.
Oh, okay, but we are the registered owners of the back one, and its assessed valuation is about $8,000, which is usually a third of the actual market price.
Mhm.
The one in front, the assessed valuation is more like $77,000. Of course, that has the house on it, so that would be money that we would be able to move from properties that we didn't pay much for into that one, so it comes at a good time if we are actually considering buying that building. And it does have lots more room than this. I mean, there'd be a place for the trustees to actually have
Yes, sir.
a workplace.
Well,
Okay,
maybe if I can make a
Yes.
suggestion, maybe, entertain an idea of having somebody, inspector or something, look at it,
Again,
Again.
assess it, so you know what.
We
are you
did
talking
have a
about this
building,
one or Pepin? Gilliam? Okay, yeah.
we did have a building inspector the last time and we got a report from them. And that's what, made some board members feel that they didn't want to take that risk because it was gonna be expensive.
Yeah, if it's been a couple of years, maybe have
Do it
our
again.
building inspector do it, he would.
Or-
We do have a
Yeah,
newer
yes, if
building
Chris would
inspector,
do it.
yeah, Chris might be able to do
would be
it.
Chris
great.
would probably do it, and that way you kind of know what you're getting yourself into before you
Right,
address it any further.
it wouldn't cost $500 like the last
Right.
one.
Yeah,
didn't
I
think
could
it was
definitely look into that.
But it was more than three.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like I said, I think it would be great. You could do so much more in that building, holding, I mean, not that we can't do much in here, but this building is also not ADA compliant as far as the bathroom is concerned, which a lot of people don't realize. So if someone is unfortunately in a wheelchair or something, they have to go out the back door, across the street to the library to use the bathroom, and then come back over here through the back door into this conference room. So I am ashamed of that, just because of, there's no reason why the building shouldn't be ADA compliant, but that is on the village, so. We will table the Gillian purchase until the next meeting or another meeting. We will make sure that there's no, nothing was said that limits us. And then I can certainly talk to Chris Karstensen, our new building inspector, and see his thoughts about possibly just inspecting the building to give us an idea of what might be, you know, fixed, not fixed, or any concerns that the village has. Is that how I want to move forward?
yeah, that's
Sounds
good.
good. Thank you. Law enforcement committee, did not forget you this time, Mr. Morgan. I don't have anything on here, but, the road's gonna be closed one more day, all day from where Love to Vincennes, so it's almost over, just
Yeah,
one more
day.
truck traffic day through town.
And then we have parking coming up this following,
Yeah.
right?
That thing's 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. today and tomorrow. They're gonna park a truck across the street where the cones are.
Mhm.
They initially sent us this proposal where they were gonna have trucks all up and down Taylor Street, which we took care of Monday.
Yes.
And so it's just gonna be one wardrobe truck. Apparently they're gonna use Flanagan's as their dressing room for their extras.
Mhm.
So that's gonna occur tomorrow, starting very early. That should be the end of that, and they should be cleaned up. We should have known the road closures and tomorrow at 10 o'clock at night, so.
Yeah. And then as far as parking in front of our building, they're gonna park there 4 days. I think it's this Friday to Monday, correct? In front of our building, because we're closing that down, because we're sending them an invoice for $100 a day.
For parking?
Yeah, to park the trailers on the north side of, or south side of Taylor.
Oh, I wasn't aware of
Okay.
that. Yeah, and in the law enforcement end, we had an incident involving one of our officers in Momence, went to Momence to assist them. A drug-induced guy who attacked our officer and the Momence officer, so he got arrested and charged with aggravated battery to the police officer, so.
Our officer is fine, right?
He's fine.
Okay.
Yep, he's fine.
Okay.
He's very good at what he does,
He bounced right back.
and he's fine.
That's great.
Yes, and then, Jamie brought up to me, she went to, at the mayor's
Oh,
meeting, she
correct,
brought up what's called a Verkada camera system. It's kind of a license plate reader camera. A lot of the towns around us have what are called license plate readers, LPRs. They sit at the outskirts of town mostly, and they pick up license plate, so you can, if somebody's wanted or a stolen car, or they're in somebody, you're looking for somebody. We do utilize Beechers a lot when we're looking for somebody, because they have that system. Verkada system is expensive than what the Flock system, which a lot of the other towns have. I once looked into it, it was $5,000 per camera to buy them, and it was $2,500 a year. We just don't have that kind of money.
No.
In those years, Jim Rowe offered to buy the camera for us, but we would be responsible for the $2,500. We were talking about 2 cameras. That was too much.
$2,500 a year per camera would, there's no way we could promise we could sustain that.
No, and Jim could not promise in years to come he could help us. So, the Verkada system is roughly about 3,000.
The cheapest one is 3,000, yep.
Per camera, and we would put one up on either end of town, and it's $30 a month per camera to maintain. So it's very inexpensive for that. It has a lot of capacity, you can program in, if you're looking for a guy driving a car, a silver car with a blue shirt on, it'll pick up every silver car with a blue shirt on.
Mhm.
And eventually, in talking to the company, I've got another, meeting with them tomorrow, they said we could eventually put these around town at this less expensive rate. They can operate solar or they can operate, AC power.
Mhm.
And we could, like we talked about years ago, enhancing our camera system around town to where we could really, encompass a lot of our town with not that many cameras.
Right.
And it wouldn't cost us a fortune. So just looking at those types of things. I've got one to test for a month. So he's gonna help me set it up tomorrow and we'll see. So
I would love to get the gentleman with glass, or I mean, sorry, not glass, the camera place, or to come and do the demonstration, because I really do wish Ben could have went with me. I know you had something to do, but the presentation the man did, people don't realize there's 186 cameras in the town of Kankakee alone that you really don't see because they're up in places, you know, whatever. And it's not like the sergeant, what's the
Oh, he's
sergeant?
chief.
Well, the sergeant was at the meeting, the
Oh.
chief was not. So sergeant, I'm not sure what his name, or lieutenant, he must have been lieutenant.
Clock, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was at the meeting, he was explaining, a police officer or anyone doesn't just sit here watching these cameras, looking for something bad to happen. It happens when their shot, thing goes off, or say there's a fatal accident or whatever. If there is a camera available, they can go looking at this specific time, place, and whatnot. Like Carl said, if someone knows it was a gray car with someone with a red shirt, they type that in and it'll pull up every gray car within an 8-hour period or whatever time period you put in. It's amazing. And he said their crime rate is down in Kankakee 56% since they've had these cameras put in. And I'm not saying our crime rate is high, but it is nice that it's a cheaper option. Because
Yeah.
Carl has been looking my whole 4 years
Yeah.
for some type of license plate reader or something, so we can be part of, if something happens up north, they come and use Route 1 and come south, opposite. Something happens here and they go here. It's a great thing to have. This is, like he said, the cheapest one. You initially pay $3,000 for the camera. That's it. We don't have to pay again. They maintain them, everything. The only thing we pay monthly is $35 for this SD card, which goes into the camera and works like a cell phone instead of having a cloud and all this other stuff that you have to pay for. It's phenomenal. I would love the guy to come in and do the presentation for everyone else, because I can't stop talking about it. Like I said, I wish someone else would have been at that meeting with me, because
Yeah, I
my
think
mind was blown.
some of the I mean, a lot of the towns around us, Mantino has them all over the
Yes.
place. Kankakee, like you said, has a lot of them, Bradley, Bourbonnais.
Mhm.
I think it's just a coming trend,
Mhm.
and it just keeps you honest.
It does, it
Yeah.
does.
I think since we've added some, we have some outside of here, the police station obviously has some. We have them at the community center eventually. I think once we get some type of Wi-Fi system.
A
and
better
start fair
Wi-Fi,
At the community center, we could expand out and put even wireless ones out there. And that's what we could put some of these out
Some
there
of these.
in the park and in areas where we're worried. I know the park down, Hilbert Park, no, Health Park, has no electric. This would, you can use a solar panel
Yeah,
to power it. So it has, down the road, we could try it out. I'll see how it works for a month and see if it's advantageous, and down the road, we could add a lot of them, and I think it could be, we could just be more.
have them in key places where we feel like, whatever, by the parks that aren't always visualized by the police officers, or maybe down the road of the school in case something happens, you have that camera that you can go back and rely on. Yes, sir.
Is that $35 for each camera for the SD card?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many cameras would you
I'm
suggest?
thinking,
offhand?
I'd like to get two, I'd like to get one on then each end of town to start with, and then, it
See how it
does go, and it's cellular, so it does go to like a cloud-based thing, but you can access it. And the advantage too is, because Kankakee City has it, we would be able to access any of the Verkada cameras anywhere in the county, but as well, we would grant the permission to any other police department, so they could access them, and we could access theirs,
Right.
even the other system.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a nice thing to have, because everybody in this county really works well together. So if we get something, like, I say we use Beecher a lot, we'll call them and say, hey, you got this on Fox, because this guy went north on, and they're like, yeah. Or they'll call us, hey, we got this our south on, okay, great.
Mhm.
So I think it's a great system, and the future of police work is truly that.
Mhm. Oh, it is.
So,
Unfortunately, there's so much going on, but yes, no, if we could get that gentleman in, just the president.
How are the body cameras doing?
Oh,
well, we're doing really well. We, actually today, we had the incident moments. For some reason, it didn't record, and the officer's like, it was recording the whole time. So I was on the phone for a couple hours today with the body camera company, and for some reason, the body camera was put into like a default mode, but it had all the video in it.
oh,
So as
okay.
soon as they repaired it through online, like, and, it uploaded all the videos. So, and we go in, when we have an incident happen, and just as an overview, if there's an incident that happens, fatal car accident or fire, things like that, we can go in and mark them to just keep indefinitely. Otherwise, there's a criteria, like traffic stops and public contact and, accidents, things like that. They go 30 or 60 days and they just self-delete unless you mark them to keep them. And if there's nothing significant, we just let them expire. And, if they're significant, we mark them and we keep them forever. So, and we pay a cloud storage fee on that, which was not truly, and we talked about maybe the server thing. I think the cloud storage thing is really easy and it's unlimited. So, we can keep, we don't have that much as some larger towns, obviously, but it's nice to be able to look and say, if an officer has a problem with something, they just say, hey, can you mark that? Yep, mark it, we have it.
Mhm.
So they really pick up well. I was very surprised.
Okay,
And the camera, the cameras we're talking about. The gentleman gave an example, because somewhere on Route 1, a semi took one out, a pole out, with one of the big $8,000 cameras on it. Semi ran the camera over. They picked it up, put it right back up, didn't even damage it. Like, these things are so, it didn't even crack the box that it comes in. They made these boxes specifically for these cameras, and I've never seen a semi run something over in it and not just destroy it. But yeah, no, it ran this thing over like it was a cement block. They put it back up, working just fine. Like, they're phenomenal, I'm telling you. I can't stop talking
You
about
guys are
it.
selling me, so.
Next
Sounds
time,
impressive,
I'll bring
yeah.
someone else, cause
Yeah,
man,
sounds
I was just,
impressive.
I was like in awe the whole time, just asking questions, even, Sun River Terrace Mayor, they don't have a lot either, but she was like, man, something at the beginning of town, like you pay that large fee one time, but if you spread it out over however many years,
Yeah.
the cameras are amazing. Okay, anyways, moving on. I have, someone also came up to me and asked about discussing, if we could open a discussion about the gaming licensing increase on machines for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. And here's why, because Carrie will have to be sending out the letters, I believe, by the next meeting, April something. They have to have them turned in by a certain time. So she just said if it was something that we wanted to discuss for this upcoming fiscal year, it would be something we would have to discuss, at this meeting, hopefully vote on it at the next meeting if we just decide to raise the fee, increase the fee, I apologize. But just because of that reason that it's kind of a time crunch, so that it could be in effect and the businesses would be able to have enough time to get the fees in order.
Question kind of related, kind of not, did Love's ever get their set up?
No.
Not yet.
I just feel
No.
like if that was gonna be an income, we have to, worry about raising anything, but.
If they could get them in there, they would be amazing, because
That's so
as
weird.
much as, like Carl said, as much as they sell in one day diesel fuel, excuse me, to the truckers.
I actually have a friend that works for the gaming board, so I
Yeah.
inquired, and he said there was a bunch of the Loves that were just recently granted them, ours was not one of them. Apparently when it depends on vendor, as you saw, like with Flanagan, waiting a long time, they changed vendor, they had them within a month.
Mm,
I think, Love's corporation wise has a bad vendor.
a specific one they use.
They had applied for it under the wrong section, which threw them off for a while. Went for 3 years. They really should have had it by now, and I think that's a lot of revenue loss for the state and for us.
And for the village, yeah.
Yeah.
I think currently we raised ours the last time, they went from 25 to 50. What are our fees now? 50, 100?
That's just
$75?
50, I think.
Is it 50?
And it's 50.
Per machine.
Per machine.
Per machine,
Is it?
yes, which we are still the lowest around, because when we voted to raise it at that time, everyone around us was $250 per machine.
Oh, that's a lot.
I guess my feeling is I just assume keep it at 50, because where we really make our money on the gambling machines is the people using them. I mean, we're gonna make probably our 25,000 off of that, and really the license itself, 1,500, and I just think that keep those places there and don't charge them anymore. To go with the percentage of the take. And I don't know how anybody else feels, I mean, that's just off the top of my head.
I have no stake in it. All I say is people bring things to me, I present it to you guys.
Yeah,
People
that's
bring things to me, they say,
Well,
hey, why are our
and again,
machines
it's
so
good to
low?
think about.
Right. Why are our machines so low and never, whatever, they only pay it once a year, right? It's
Right,
one
just
time.
once a year.
Does the vendor pay that, or does the business owner pay that fee?
The business does. It would depend on what vendor you use. If they reimburse you or if they give you 50%, it would be individual vendors.
Understand.
Okay. Like I said,
And I agree with Gary, we get our money from people playing the machines
Yeah.
and, you know.
I didn't know how that,
amusement part
I didn't
of it.
know how that worked. You know, some establishments have just a few machines where others have quite a few of them. And I don't know if the business paid, the fee
Right.
themselves. I mean, if we had 6 machines at a higher rate, that would be quite expensive and
Right,
no one was playing the machines.
and 6 machines is what is allowed,
Is that what it is?
That's the most. yeah.
Okay.
Unless your truck stop.
unless your truck's.
Okay,
They can't even get the 6 they want, okay?
They can have 10.
They can have that. They are having a hard time getting the 6 that they want and need, so, okay, like I said, I have nothing, no stakes. When people bring me stuff, I just present it to
yeah,
you
well,
guys,
it's
because
good to
that's,
talk about, because it's coming up.
I'm not gonna hold things
And I
in,
think
yeah.
that we have to, you know, look at those kinds of things, yeah.
Our new vedette, I'm sorry, was there one?
Consensus is we're gonna keep it the same.
I believe
That's
Well,
just
we'll-
Susie, I don't know what anybody else thinks,
we can take a straw vote, or we can discuss it at the next one, it's fine,
or take a straw. vote.
straw vote. Straw vote or no?
I just wanted to put the right.
Mr. Pacini? Would you be in favor, or, it's up to you. Would you like to
Increase or
discuss
stay
it
the
more?
same?
Stay the same.
Stay the same, okay.
Stay the same.
You're
Stay the
next.
same,
That's fine.
Okay.
The small town.
Okay,
yeah, right.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I just reported.
I mean,
That's
a
okay.
business owner would know where the money's made. I mean, that's why we're asking, and it wouldn't be fair to the business owner for someone who doesn't have any stake in the business to say, let's raise it, where the business owner's not, is paying money out, but it's not making any money from
Oh,
the
right, there would
increase.
be no.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any need to have the machine because you're not making any money off of it.
Correct.
They're not as profitable, I feel like, as people
Oh,
are
yeah.
led to believe.
Mhm.
Right.
Anyways, sorry.
I'm looking for an email that I received today from a resident. I will not mention the young man's name. There's a lot the village should hear. Do you have something you were gonna say?
Well, I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
ask, I see that the debt is available in cases, is there a charge for that?
No, it is currently free. It should be free, but some people say Casey's isn't charging them, and I think that's just probably because they bring a paper up and whatever. They're not paying attention to what paper it is, but the vedette is supposed to be free at Casey's until they can figure out how much interest there is in it. And if people are gonna want, we have a couple at the counter up there. Their last one just came out, oh, here it is. Comes out on, I believe, Wednesdays. Comes out on Wednesdays. It covers mostly Will County, but now they are trying to spread down here. They have a police blotter. I mean, we could also put stuff in there, if we were interested. They cover the schools and the sports. They do already cover, Grant Park sports, which is really nice. When I talked to Dr. Palin, he did make me aware of that. But they will cover our board meetings electronically. So the young lady watches the meeting on YouTube and then reports on it in the vedette. Sort of not in the one I grabbed, but they have covered 3 of our meetings. There are some out there of the older versions. I like a paper. I know other people like a paper. It's just something for people who want to be able to, and we talked about discussing instead of always having to advertise in the journal, which can be kind of pricey
Yes,
for projects that we have with Neil, or if we're bidding things out, we have to run them in the paper for so long. So this would be possibly a cheaper version for the village to be able to do those types of things that we're mandated to do.
like the treasurer's report. yeah.
Yes. So this is just another paper that hopefully can get up and running and be successful in Grant Park along with the other towns that it is in. Local, oh God, yeah. So the mayor's dinner, I had, it was at Kankakee. The next one is April 16th. It was, ideally, they're supposed to be every other month on the 3rd Wednesday. Kankakee mayor, he missed January, so it ended up being in February. So the next one is gonna be on April 16th, and Grant Park is hosting it. So I will, obviously, all the board members will be invited to that. I don't have a choice on the date. That's the date that it always is. It's the 3rd Wednesday every other month. So obviously, I believe it'll probably be at the park building. I'm not sure what else we need. questions. I mean, it's,
Marty did one next door. It wasn't Flanagan's then.
no,
but-
I did one at the beginning. Me and Chuck Steele did one
Oh, okay.
at the park building.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, that
We
was-
had it catered then.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would, I mean, obviously, I'm not cooking for all these people, so I would,
No,
I'm gonna have it catered, probably an open bar is usually what they do, and then, they usually have a presenter. Like they had the camera guy at this last one, we could discuss who would we like to present, I'm not sure the attorneys would have much to say and present, I know Neil would have a lot with all the projects that we have covered in the past couple of years, I think that would be a good host.
and he works for a number of the other
True,
municipalities.
he
too.
does, yeah,
So that
so.
might be good, because they know who he was.
Correct, so that's just open if anyone has any yes, sir.
I would suggest Jim Rowe, there's an incoming
Oh,
law,
he likes to do
it's
that.
called
Yes.
Katrina's Law. It's
Yes,
gonna negatively impact every village, every municipality in the state of Illinois.
okay, that's a good one, cause then, yeah, he can speak
He
at
likes
ours.
doing
It takes effect in the beginning of May.
Yeah.
That would be perfect then, if
He
this is
he would
April
be
12th,
good if he
yeah.
could be available, that would be good.
So piggybacking on that, that's not a word, but that's what I'm gonna use. We were supposed to have that Christmas party, that we have that $1,600 that's been floating around for 2 years now, whenever that commercial was. Would it be okay with the board, since pretty much all the same people are gonna be at this party, to use some of that towards
Oh, yeah,
this?
That makes great sense.
Okay, I was just making
Yeah.
sure.
It's already earmarked for dinner, use it for this.
Right, and I think the only other thing is, normally, like, all the police officers don't come to the mayor's meetings, but there's not gonna be that many mayors there, because it's right before an election anyways, so I have no problem, like, inviting everyone that we would have invited, the village, board, their spouses, and then the police officers, and obviously the chief, if that is
Yeah.
okay with everyone. I know we can't take an official vote on it, but that was just my suggestion, if that would be okay with everyone.
Yeah.
Instead of getting together twice
Yeah.
to do the same thing, eat and drink and be merry. But I do like the Jim Rowe select, that's a great idea, thank you, Carl. So yeah, it'll be April 16th, it usually starts at 6 PM. I'm sure we'll probably use the park building, I've already, marked it off in the book to use. Food will be catered, and then they usually have like an open bar of select things, which I'll probably reach out to one of the local establishments and see if they would like to, provide that for us, I'm not sure. I think last time I had Bennett Curtis House do it, provide the open bar, so. Any questions? Discuss more at the next meeting?
Good.
Alright. And then for the Netflix stuff that we have going on, like Carl and I were talking about. They are also renting our park building for, lunches that they're having, like this week, they're in town, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So they're using the park building for their lunches or whatnot. So I did create invoices for them, and we did decide on a fee of $350 a day that they will be renting the park for, because obviously they don't live in town. $350 a day, and we will not be having to issue a deposit back, because it's Netflix. We're gonna mail Netflix a check. I discussed it with Ben Miner, if some people know who Ben Miner is, he is the production assistant.
Site coordinator.
Site- He's the one I've been communicating, myself and Carl have been communicating with about these things, so the village will be, getting a nice little wire transfer, because that's how they wanna pay us. The first invoice I sent them is for 3 days, it's gonna be $1,050, so that's a little bit of revenue for the village. And then the other one is gonna be for 4 days, crew lunch, and it's gonna be $1,400 for that. And then, as I discussed earlier with Carl, which I know we talked about it, but you don't remember, that's fine. We are charging them $100 a day. I believe it's this weekend coming up, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Or maybe it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I will get the dates for sure. There will be cones out front. You're not gonna be able to park out front. There's gonna be a big trailer there. I talked to Ben Miner. I don't wanna just say Ben, because I never get to this Ben Miner about it, and I asked him, we do use that parking. It is very limited. Could we charge you to park there? He said, yes, it's Netflix, Jamie, you can charge us to park there. So I picked $100 a day. I just thought that was reasonable. So that's some more income that is coming in for the village. So, is there anything else that anyone would
Why
like
are
to?
the cones out there now?
I'm not sure,
They're
Carl's,
there because, as we discussed with them Monday, they're bringing in a wardrobe trailer.
yeah, oh,
Said they were bringing it in Sunday night.
okay, gotcha,
That's why they've been out there all weekend. So that nobody parks there, they're gonna bring in a 40-foot trailer that's gonna sit there. And their Flanagan is gonna be their dressing room, so that's where they keep all their costumes or whatever they
right.
do.
I think it's supposed to be on this side though, not the
No,
north
it's on that
side.
side,
Okay, well,
but,
yeah,
yeah, so we
I'll
said,
have to get with Ben Meyer and make sure when my 4 days is.
yeah, so I didn't.
Either way, we're getting $400.
Yeah, because we talked to him, I talked to them today, and they're supposed to bring it in, I think later tonight or tomorrow morning,
Okay,
because tomorrow morning they're starting with all their stuff next door.
okay, okay. So, yeah, and then, I did, I know I didn't give the estimate, but this flooring, regardless who you guys decide wants to do it or needs to do it, needs to be replaced. I showed Scott, if you pull up the corner over there by the door, this is they're little tiny boards like this from 19 whatever, going across. If this carpet wasn't here, the carpet is giving this floor so much stabilization because of its thickness. We can all go over there and pull it up and you can look at it. This floor eventually, sooner than later, needs to be replaced along with this carpeting out here that is full of black mold and whatever from the dripping of the leaky roof. So that is just a suggestion. I'm not gonna proceed with it because I'm not gonna keep getting attacked for things. When all I'm trying to do is help the village. So, with that said, is there a motion to adjourn? Yes.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
All things on.
Meeting adjourned.
I've been texting, she's fine.
Okay.
She's home because Nick had surgery.
Okay, okay.